Right, no big intro, because guess what? Jason's here today. The nemesis of Patches the dog. I mean, do I trust anyone who has that kind of track record? I mean, do I trust you?
Most don't, but that's all right. Yeah, you.
So let's get to a number of issues today. We'll start with Heat and Nuggets.
Yep.
Really felt the Nuggets would win. But they did do something last night I did not expect, and that was the start. That was getting Kevin Love into the game. Love had not played toward the tail end of the Celtics series. He did not play in Game 1. It gave them more size. And also a key to the Kevin Love career has been he is as fine an outlet passer I've seen in the NBA since Bill Walton. Since Bill Walton, I don't think there's been a better outlet passer that I've seen in the NBA than Kevin Love, and that showed up last night. But again, what did Miami do? A 34% 3-point shooting team during the course of the regular season, the team that shot 50% or better from three in 3 games in the regular season, then did it 3 times against the Celtics. In Game 1, they didn't shoot the ball well. Last night, they hit 48% of their threes. Right? This has been an aberration from the 6 months leading in as to how they have played. And they shot 48% from 3. Conversely, Denver struggled from 3 last night. That was a big part of it. The size that Love gave them inside, I think, made a big difference. Jokic, who had 41 points, but where's the big number with Jokic? He had 4 assists in the game last night.
It's huge.
So that was ended up being a big difference between the two teams. 41's an awesome number, but when it's Nikola Jokic, 4 on the assist side is just a number you can't live with. It's got to be. Now, guys have to hit shots. Remember, just because he had only 4 assists doesn't mean he didn't make great passes. Guys have to hit the shots. But that tells you they weren't hitting the shots.
Right.
And now they go back to Miami tied at a game apiece. Now Denver's got to go in there thinking, hey, let's get a split. Right? They probably were thinking they had to get a split before. Now they really need to have a split because Miami has now, quote, seized the home court in the series. And last night, Adebayo played well. Duncan Robinson, at the end of the third and then in the beginning of the fourth quarter, was the difference in the game.
It was huge.
Which did make
fourth quarter especially.
Gabe Vincent shot the ball really well last night. Ironically, Caleb Martin didn't. He hit a couple shots, but that's all he did. So if you're assuming he did, and Jimmy Butler kind of had one of those. Yeah. I mean, he distributed the ball a lot, but I mean, did he have a great game? Not really.
No.
But you know what? What does that tell you? Miami won without him having a great game.
Yeah, really did the same in Game 7 against the Celtics, too. Had a great game, and I thought Ramona Shelburne made a great point. Eric Spoelstra kind of bypassed the question, but I think that point was a good point. They forced Jokic into a shooter, and that's where he becomes a little bit weaker. And that's strange to say when a guy scores 41 points. But you turn him away from not being a passer the way he was.
It makes Denver weaker, not Jokic weaker.
Makes Denver, well, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Makes Denver weaker.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Because his passing, again, they turned him into they didn't turn him into anything. No. Okay? He made passes. Denver missed shots.
Yeah, sure.
Okay? That's how you end up with. I mean, you want to know how many triple-doubles I've seen missed at Penn State during the course of my career because guys didn't hit shots?
Oh, quite a few. Sure.
Yeah. Okay? I'll never forget. Penn State's playing Nebraska. And they had a promotion where if Penn State cracked 70 points, the students would get McDonald's.
Yep.
Okay, whatever the promotion of McDonald's happened to be. And Tim Frazier had something like 20-some-odd points. He had a dozen rebounds, and he had 9 assists. There's 4 minutes left in the game. They come down the floor. Frazier, boom, dishes the ball off. Wide open 3. No. And the crowd's like, oh. Comes down the floor, makes a great pass, boom, missed layup. Now, Penn State's winning the game. They're not going to lose. And Dick Girardi says in the broadcast, boy, he says, like every single shot, he says, boy, I'll tell you, Steve, this crowd's really into it. They really want Tim to get that triple-double. And I said, no. He says, what do you mean? No. I said, do they get to 70? I said, they get food. He looked over and he goes, really? He says, savvy crowd.
The smartest one of all with that was the Sixers changing that when Ben Simmons left town.
Right.
Because if the fast food chain that offered free dessert would have gone bankrupt when Ben Simmons was at the front line.
Right. True. I mean, and Penn State never did crack 70. They didn't do it. They won the game by like 12, 14, whatever. Tim ended up with 9 assists, and he made 4 great passes in the last 3 minutes. I mean, great passes. We go, nope, no triple-double. Guys have to hit shots for you to get the assist.
Yeah.
They have to make it.
Absolutely.
So that tells you something about what's going on. So now they have to wait till Wednesday.
Yeah.
Till they play.
You always get that extra day now with the in-between games. Well, aside from when Game 5 rolls around, then it's 2, but...
And tonight it's Florida and Vegas on TNT. Vegas won the opener. Florida played like a tired team.
Yeah, I thought so too. I thought first 2 periods, they played pretty well, but I thought the third period is where you started to really see it. I thought the fatigue stuck in a little bit, and definitely, you're absolutely right. I think played a little bit exhausted. That's what's going to happen when you play the series they played.
They just seemed a half stride behind. Yeah. Hill, I thought, when they needed him, I mean, he's the 5th goaltender Vegas has used this year.
Yeah.
But that stop he made in the third period on the breakaway was phenomenal. And then Vegas came right down and scored. Jeez. I mean, again, Jonathan Quick, who has backstopped 2 Stanley Cups in his career, is the backup goalie for Vegas. He's not seeing the light of day the way this guy's playing. And this guy survived the Edmonton series. After the starter got hurt, he came in against Edmonton. Okay? Last I checked, Edmonton has some firepower. I was talking to Kenny Albert last week, and Kenny Albert says, Steve, he says, look at the penalty kill for Vegas. He says completely skewed because they played Edmonton. He says the other 2 series, their penalty kill is great. He says except for the Edmonton series. Yeah, McDavid, Draisaitl, Kane. I mean, they have some firepower on that team. I mean, you can't defend worth a darn. But
no, they definitely can't.
All right. Tomorrow there's a special board meeting. It's executive session for the Colorado Board of Regents. It is scheduled for 5:30 Eastern tomorrow. And legal advice on a specific athletic matter. Okay. I wonder what that's about. There are a lot of stories circulating. Every time you turn around, somebody else is moving. Somebody's moving. The Pac-12, by the way, my understanding is I'm in touch with Tony Knopp about this. We're trying to get Tony to come on the show. I mean, anything like, just to get some info out there to people. And while the Pac-12 would love to stay, or the 10 remaining stay intact, Colorado is not a big concern to them because they feel they can replace them with San Diego State. Okay. That's part of it. Now, San Diego State is in a precarious position here. San Diego State's exit fee to the Mountain West is relatively good until you get to June 30th. You leave on July 1, it shoots through the sky, the exit fee. So I'm sure they would like to have something resolved here over the next 25 days so they can make some sort of move if they need to. But again, Colorado, a lot of people feel that the three linchpins are Washington, Oregon, but right now they're not really, okay? And the third one that they're ultra concerned about, that if it were to happen, it would create a big problem, is Arizona. Not Arizona State, Arizona. Now, obviously, people in Arizona would like to see it be a group package.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? But Arizona is considered to be the one that when you talk to people privately, that's the one that worries them because they feel they're the most vulnerable. Colorado, I know the Denver market is great, but they're the easternmost Pac-12 team.
Yeah.
And they're sitting in that spot where you'd like to have them, but all right, who's more expendable, them or Arizona? And to them, it's Arizona, the one that is not
as expendable.
Not as expendable. Right? That's really the thought process. Okay. Everyone's getting the impression that the Big Ten is right now, let's see what we can do with 16 first. The SEC, let's see what we can do with 16 first. A lot of people are, we're going to leave. Oh, you're going to leave, all right? Okay. Tell me how you're going to leave.
Yep.
And I've mentioned this before, but I'll mention it again. Okay? If the grant of rights is just so easy to get out of, why are Texas and Oklahoma playing football and basketball in the Big 12 this year? Anybody want to tell me? Anybody have any thoughts? All right. I mean, it's been 2 years since they were invited. 2 years. I don't mean 2 months. It's been 2 years.
Yeah.
Right? And then they finally do get out. And do they just walk away?
No, they're paying quite a bit.
$50 million each to do it. Huh. Let's take a long look at the media rights deal. Boy, it looks to me like that $50 million covers a part of the media rights deal and also an exit fee. Wow. Guess who copied, or guess which conference requested a copy of the grant of rights from the Big 12 to look at it and then pretty much did the same thing. Who did that? Let's see now. The ACC. Really? Florida State. Oh, you've got to do something about this. Really? Bold words. Okay, so there's two parts. Okay, one, you have to get out. Two, somebody has to want you. Okay? There's no desire out there right now. We got to get Florida State. For what?
No, I think that's a perception, but I don't think right now, at least as you look at it, there's any reason. No, there's a lot. When the move from
the SEC doesn't. Everybody.
SEC's.
They're sitting there like going, "Well, you think the Big Ten wants them?"
No.
Let's start let's start with the
Big Ten has that market for the most part, but without even playing there.
Okay, let's start with the basic. All right, they're not an AAU school.
No.
They're not.
No.
Right? And I don't want to hear about the Nebraska thing. When they came in, they were.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yep.
So, then they fell off the AAU mark a couple years after they got in, and I think it has to do with the placement of the medical school or something like that, whatever that happened, whatever that situation happens to be. But they're not an AAU school.
No.
All right, let's start with just some basics. Oh, it's just a soft thing that you want. No, it's not a soft thing you want.
No, not right now. Absolutely not.
You ever talk to university presidents?
Sure. I have.
It's a big deal.
Yeah. Massive deal.
It's a big deal to them in this conference. Yeah. It's not a small deal. It's a big deal.
No, and the other part of it right now, you talked about it. You're at 16 teams. You want to see how that goes first. You're bringing in SEC, same thing. You're bringing in 2 teams. What's going to happen? Scheduling is the one thing to me that is not as easy as it looks on the surface.
Well, let's start with this. Where's your 2024 football schedule right now?
Yeah, nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be found. You try finding that. You talk about the amount of conference games that happens. It's equally as hard to find that out of conference opponent, especially when an out of conference opponent says no thanks.
Yeah,
but with a year to go. Yeah, it is very difficult. I do not want to be any athletic director when it comes to that kind of scheduling. Absolutely not. Do not want to be any kind of commissioner when it comes to that.
And we talk about the football schedule.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's that.
But you have to schedule volleyball, men's and women's soccer.
Sure.
You have to schedule cross country. You have to schedule. Well, wrestling doesn't end with the 16. There's no change because USC and UCLA don't wrestle,
right?
Nor will they. And you don't have to worry about that. Your baseball schedule, your softball schedule, your track and field schedule.
Yep.
You have to go through all these schedules, gymnastics, everything, right, to see how this fits. Now, football and men's basketball are the ones, and then women's basketball are the ones where, like, okay, they'll get the most publicity, but you have to schedule for everybody. Right? How do you do it? I think you'd like to see what works first.
What works first. Exactly.
Before you then say, okay, now let's go to, because maybe by the end of the decade, you do have 20. Okay. But that's the end of the decade when the TV contract is up and you're negotiating a new TV deal. Because there's another common sense thing that comes into play. Okay? It's called money. All right? I mean, you think, hey, we got Washington and Oregon. We're going to give you money. No, they're not. Why should they? They are under no obligation to give you more money. Okay? No. ESPN is under no obligation to give the SEC more money for Texas and Oklahoma. You know that, right? Right? That deal was signed in 2020 when there was no Texas and Oklahoma. They're going to have to divide it up 16 ways.
Agreed.
I mean, that's there's a bunch of these things that people just assume, and they just. Right, I'm sitting there as a TV executive. Hey, we just expanded. All right, good for you. We'll cover the games, sure. Right? Our contract says we're going to do 27 to 32 games. Well, we're still going to do 27
and we're still doing it, and that's the same amount of money. Yeah.
Right.
Figure it out how to split it another 2 ways.
I'm not sitting there saying we're going to 32 to 36 games.
Right.
My contract says 27 to 32. We're done. We already have a signed deal, and the signed deal has a caveat in it about one school. Notre Dame. Which, by the way, just got AAU status. Right? One school. There's nothing about the other schools. Well, they'll come in at a lower rate. For what?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, no, the lower rate would work for them. But what am I giving? I don't want to give them. I'm not giving them money.
If I'm an athletic director, why would you?
I'm an athletic director at Ohio. I'm Gene Smith. I'm Ward Manuel. I'm Pat Kraft. Why do I want to say, well, we'll take a little less money. You guys go over here. Remember, you're already paying some money back, in a roundabout way for the COVID year.
The COVID year, yeah, absolutely.
Fox has to get money back because it was only a 9-game schedule.
Yep.
Okay. How much more do you want to give back? I mean, seriously.
It's not, yeah.
Everybody think, oh, this is going to be great. Brands are important.
Yeah.
It used to be that the single most important factor was market.
Yeah, it's still a factor, but it's not the most important factor. Yeah.
No doubt it's a factor. Maryland Rutgers got in
because of
markets.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's be straight so everybody understands. Penn State, Michigan deliver the New York market. Okay? That's a reality. But there's also another reality. When it comes to BTN and cable sets, until you put Rutgers in there, you can't move BTN to the upper tier on the cable system. Well, but Penn State and Michigan deliver. Well, yeah, but they're not here. Now you put Rutgers in, they deliver that. Maryland, yeah, Penn State.
Sure.
Penn State's as big a brand in Washington and Baltimore as anybody. They deliver that market more than Maryland does. But, you can't claim the market and get BTN to the upper tier, where you can charge more, unless you have a school in it, and that's Maryland. Right? So that's the reality of it. Okay? But markets, yeah, I mean, look. Penn State delivers Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, right? And Ohio State delivers Columbus. Cincinnati, and Cleveland. Columbus is the largest population city in Ohio. I don't think a lot of people realize that.
State capital.
Michigan and Michigan State deliver Detroit. Chicago is delivered by Northwestern and Illinois. Indianapolis, Purdue, Indiana. You keep going through. Wisconsin delivers Madison, Milwaukee, Green Bay. Minnesota delivers Minneapolis. Lincoln and Omaha are delivered by the University of Nebraska. Right? Lincoln is not a small city. It's 200,000. Right? And then you get Omaha. Iowa delivers Des Moines. Okay? So, market-wise. So those are the markets that are delivered. And obviously, USC and UCLA deliver Los Angeles. But now it's really the brands, because you're seeing every year who's delivering the largest TV audiences. Well, Ohio State, Penn State, and Michigan are in the top 9 every year in average television audience. Every year they're in the top 9. One form or another. Penn State's average audience last year ended up being 6th. They were tied with Texas. The year before, they were 4th. All right. That's what you're looking for. Now, to the credit of Florida State, they were 15th last year in average audience. Clemson was 10th. Okay, that's good. We're not in a relegation form here where you relegate Vanderbilt and you bring in Clemson. No. You're not going to relegate South Carolina and bring in Florida State. It's not how it works. Right? You either stick at 16 or you go to 18. Well, you go to 18, the TV networks are going, okay, I'm not. And look at all the big games you'll deliver. Okay, you can deliver all the big games you want. But guess what? You know what happens at the end of the conference season? There are as many wins as there are losses. Mm-hmm. So Alabama goes 8-0 in the conference season. There's 8 losses someplace along the way that we can go to and see, by schools against them. So, yeah, they're delivering big brands, but like Florida State, say they get in there and they're both, let's keep it at 8 games, 4-4. What'd the big brand deliver you? They're like, they're 4-4.
Yeah.
They can't compete.
And you go back to even, early, mid-90s, early 90s, and Florida State was a brand that you would have taken. Yeah, you look at it, that's not only football. Yeah, basketball was respectable. Bob Sura there, Charlie Ward played basketball there. Yeah, baseball has always been a traditionally great program for Florida State.
Baseball doesn't come in.
When Martin was there.
No offense.
It doesn't.
Everybody understands.
It's not going to bring in the
sports football are talked about at the table.
No, because it didn't bring in revenue.
I mean that's why
on a TV contract whatsoever.
I hear people that Stanford, look how great they are in all these sports. It doesn't matter.
They're not bringing in money with those sports.
Okay, Fox, NBC, and CBS are like going, wow, we got to have Stanford. They're really terrific in baseball.
Yeah,
we're not carrying any baseball games.
No,
we're carrying no baseball games.
No.
Okay, we're not carrying men's gymnastics. We don't do it. Okay? We carry football and we carry basketball.
Yeah. which Florida State had in 93, 94. Absolutely at its top of its game, without a doubt.
Yeah, but then Bobby Bowden left, and you could tell Jimbo was starting to run the thing. Jimbo got out of town.
Yeah, you could easily tell was going to be the opportunity.
When he took the Texas A&M job, everybody was talking about the money and the 10 years, and I said he got out while he could get out.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And there's a chance. Let's see, obviously, we're jumping the gun big time, but there's a chance, depending on what he does at Colorado, I think Deion Sanders, that is the job for him.
We'll see.
That he's probably going to look into. I don't think there's any question.
We'll see. But look, when it comes to brands, Washington's a good brand.
Yeah.
Oregon is a good brand.
Yeah.
They are not difference-making great brands.
No.
Okay? They aren't. There are only a certain group of those. So, okay, let's. I'm going to give you 3 brands that came together on a given night. Okay, and it's not football. NCAA men's basketball tournament, great brand. Texas, great brand. Penn State, great brand. Now again, Texas known for football.
Sure.
Penn State known for football.
Same. Yeah.
But the brand names. NCAA tournament, Texas, Penn State, 6.6 million viewers. Okay, who got more viewership? The Notre Dame bowl game with South Carolina? So they played, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
Who got more viewers? The Notre Dame bowl game with South Carolina, or the NCAA men's basketball tournament game with Penn State and Texas? Brands. 3 heavyweights together in prime time.
Sure.
6.6 million viewers. Wow. That tells you everything right there about why they gravitate toward brands. Right? Texas and Oklahoma are brands. USC, UCLA are brands. Right? Gonzaga may draw more TV viewers than UCLA does. They do.
Yeah,
I've seen the
they
numbers.
do.
In
but
basketball, they do.
Yeah, in basketball they do, but
Gonzaga does. But
as a full-fledged brand, UCLA has them beat.
UCLA, right? Right. You now have in the Big Ten, Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan, and USC as top-tier brands. You have extremely strong secondary brands. Right? Extremely strong secondary brands in UCLA, Wisconsin. Okay, I know they have not had a great run, but Nebraska is still a football brand. Right? Iowa.
Absolutely.
Michigan State. Those are really good secondary brands that you have.
Yeah.
I mentioned Wisconsin, right? Yeah. Really good secondary brands. I mean, that's the hallmark of what you're trying to do. Now, James Franklin makes the point that the Big Ten has put together its deals and the way it's structured in his conference for money. He is correct about that. He is not incorrect. Right? And that there has to be more put into the idea of how do you get a pathway to the playoff and a championship. The SEC takes care of that all the time. I mean, Scott Docterman of The Athletic put out a piece that 13 of the 14 Big Ten teams are facing 10 Power 5 schools this year. Okay? Guess who the one isn't?
Yeah.
Who do you think?
13 of the 14 facing Power 5. Let me see where we're at.
Opponents.
Well, Michigan facing a Power 5?
Nope.
Yeah, that's who it is.
It is Michigan.
It is Michigan?
Yep. Now, let's be fair. We all know that among those Power 5 opponents includes a Rutgers, includes okay? I got that, but they're still Power 5.
Yep.
Right? The SEC, because they have eight games,
right?
Because they play 8 conference games, only 2 of their 14 are going to face 10 Power 5 opponents. And the 2 are Florida and South Carolina. South Carolina has an opening game against North Carolina in Charlotte. And South Carolina closes the season with Clemson. So that's how they got the 10. The other one is Florida, because they obviously closed with Florida State.
Yeah.
But they're opening with Utah. Everybody else has 9 or 8 in the SEC. But they also are clever with the way they schedule it, as I've pointed out many times. They'll put a couple of big games in the second week, big game in the third week, where you feel like the SEC is having this big game every week. And the perception of one, like, wow, but they're all not playing on the same day. Everything's spread out, dotted here and there. Right? And they're clever with the way they do it. Right? And then, because of their arrangements that they have, obviously with a powerful all-sports network, that when they get to the next to the last week of the season and suddenly Mercer shows up, they laugh about it. Okay? If it was somebody else, would they laugh about it?
No.
I mean, really?
Nope.
I mean, Penn State were to play Mercer the next to the last week of the season in the thick of the race for the college football playoff.
And that's the biggest point. Okay. Second point.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. What do you think they'd say?
Yeah.
What do you think they would say? I'd be interested to hear what they would say about that if that were to happen.
I'd be very interested to hear it because
every time Alabama does it, every time Clemson's done it, Clemson when you're at Furman, like, oh yeah, it's just one of those weeks. Yeah, really, you got 3 stinking hours here. You're critical of everything else. You're not going to be critical of this. All right. You wonder why the no-show rate among students is so high in certain schools. I mean, you know what the no-show rate is at Georgia? 27%.
Yeah.
27% is the no-show rate among the student body for Georgia football games. Last time Clemson won a national championship, do you know how many games they sold out? At home?
I'm trying to think of who they played at home that year. They may not have sold any out.
They sold none out.
Yeah.
The last time Clemson won a national championship, they had no sellouts.
No.
Eli Drinkwitz at the SEC meetings received a lot of flack for what he said about NIL. It was trending, and you know how I follow all the trending stuff. It's so important to find out what 18 people think on Twitter.
Darn right.
Yeah. But it's trending. He said this, he said this. He actually said something else that should have been really important for people to think. He was talking about, he said, we're debating 8 or 9 here. He says, we got to give the fans what they want. Well, over here in the back, you brought up the fans? Good for you, man. Good for you. You brought up the fans.
Mm-hmm.
Like what they want.
It's not like they pay to go to games or anything.
No.
Or pay or devote their time in any way, whether they're at the stadium or not.
Did he get any run for saying that? No, it was all about what he said about NIL.
Yeah.
And he had to correct it. And he had to correct it. Just slow down. You know, the guy was over here talking about scheduling earlier, and he talked about the fans.
Yeah.
Right? And how important it was to deliver a product to them. Excuse me, that's, okay. Everybody's, on the NIL thing, people are walking on eggshells all the time.
Absolutely.
All right.
Because you're not going to have full-fledged stability, and for that reason.
Everybody says the players should get, okay?
Yep.
Everybody says it. It's okay. Okay,
whatever.
Enough.
At this point,
Start looking at, like, taking every word and parsing out something. He talked about something that's important.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? The triangle is always there. And every time there is a labor dispute in professional sports, you'll hear the head of the Players Association say, no players, no game. Well, that's true.
Yeah.
There's no getting around it. That's absolutely true.
Sure.
But to be honest with you, no owners, no game.
Yep.
If there's not a group that comes together in ownership, I mean, these aren't pickup games.
Nope.
Right? And guess what? Here's the part they never talk about. No fans, no game.
And before anybody jumps in and says, well, it happened in 2020 and 2020. Yeah, 1 year, and that took a big loss that people are still paying back. So,
well, they played.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Guess what the TV ratings did?
Yeah.
It went down. Which was 180 of what I thought would happen. I thought the TV
they'd go up.
Would go through
I agree entirely.
the roof because everybody's sitting at home and the whole thing. They went down. And then when the fans were back in the stands with some ambiance and excitement going and things like that, I mean, what does it tell you? They piped in noise during the pandemic.
Yeah.
They know.
Yeah.
We're going to pipe in noise to do it, really.
They know in the pocketbook, too. That's no doubt about it.
But no fans, okay? I don't care whether you're sitting at home paying your cable bill or you're sitting in the seats. You're paying money. No fans, no game. No fans, no game.
Absolutely.
Right? Look at how many leagues have failed in our lifetime. No fans, no game. USFL 1, WFL, WHA, ABA. I mean, you keep going through the list, like XFL. Right? They're not selling out stadiums. The USFL, to its credit, was starting to get a little bit of traction with some people in stadiums, but they had to fold how many teams that weren't? Left and right, folding teams. The WHA eventually got 4 teams absorbed into the NHL. I think they only had 7 left at the end. They only had 7 left. The ABA had parsed down at the end. They finally were able to get, 3 teams into the NBA, right? 4. It was 4, right? They got the Nets in, they got the Pacers in, they got the Spurs in, and the Nuggets.
No, the Nuggets were an ABA. Yeah, that's right. Issel was an ABA. Yep. That's right.
Issel
was in the...
Issel.
You remember Dan Issel?
David Thompson.
72, 73.
David Thompson.
Great player.
Issel, obviously, he was at the Kentucky Colonels. Then he went over to the Rockets, Nuggets.
Great player.
They were the Denver Rockets.
Great player.
They were the Denver Rockets originally.
David Thompson was offensively the best NCAA player.
David Thompson.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he was incredible. No doubt about it.
Dan Issel.
Issel was a good guy, good player.
He was a good
Only
player.
because I met the guy. That's the big
Well, Issel was a good player. Right?
No, he was.
He was a big-time player.
Absolutely. And Nuggets have a good tradition prior to what we're seeing now. They really do. Just don't have a playoff pedigree to show it.
No. But look at all the teams that have gone out of business over the years.
Sure.
Okay? Ended up moving. I mean, let's do an easy one. The Sacramento Kings. Okay? The Sacramento Kings, you know where they started?
Kansas City's.
That's where they came from, but they started as the Rochester Royals.
Well, yeah.
Okay, so this is the early days of the league. Then they go to Cincinnati, and they're the Cincinnati Royals.
Yep, those are big O's there.
Yep. Jerry Lucas. Right. They then move to Kansas City, and then for a period of time, they were the Kansas City Omaha.
Kings. Yep.
Then, okay, now they're Sacramento. But they couldn't quite make it in Cincinnati. They couldn't quite make it in Kansas City. Now they end up there.
Yep.
Okay? We'll stay with Kansas City, right? The New Jersey Devils. The New Jersey Devils were the Kansas City Scouts for 2 years. Then they went to Denver. They were the Colorado Rockies for a couple of years, and then they moved to Jersey. Okay. I mean, you got to start looking at like the lineage of teams, where they came from, to let you know that when you don't have fans, you know the right ownership, you don't have anything.
All right.
Right? And I think everybody sees teams now and they think everything has always been great. It's always been stable. It's far from it. My goodness, the Lakers were in Minneapolis.
I was going to say, not only that, the NBA as a whole. That's.
I mean, okay, the Arizona Coyotes, who are in trouble right now.
Yeah.
Okay, we're the Winnipeg Jets.
Right.
Well, no, there is a Winnipeg Jets team. Yeah, they're the Atlanta Thrashers.
Atlanta Thrashers now. Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Just like the Calgary Flames or the Atlanta Flames.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Right. The Dallas Stars were the Minnesota North Stars, who combined with the Cleveland Barons, who then absorbed the Oakland Seals. I mean, there's a lot of things that have happened over time. I mean, The Las Vegas Raiders. Oakland, Los Angeles, Oakland Las
again.
Vegas.
Yep.
Okay. The A's. Philadelphia, Kansas City, Oakland, Las Vegas. When you don't have a fan base that can make it happen for you, that goes back to brands.
Sure.
Okay. Michigan gets 111,000. Penn State gets 108,000. Ohio State gets 104,000. You know how remarkable it is to do that? There are no NFL stadiums that big.
Nope.
There are no NFL stadiums that big. At one point, the Bills had an 80,000 seat stadium. Their new stadium's going to seat 65. Which is smart, by the way. That's not a dumb move.
No.
Move.
Yeah, no, it is.
All right. Baseball was playing in stadiums. Now, the Pirates built PNC Park. So they go from the cavernous empty seats left and right at Three River Stadium to 38,000. That's the right size. Same thing with, Philadelphia's what, 43?
Yeah.
43,000?
Yep.
Yeah, and every once in a while they'd dump some band in there like Metallica or something. And it's like, whatever.
Or Taylor Swift does 3 shows there and sets the just about every record known to man. Yeah.
She beat out Metallica.
Oh, I think Taylor Swift's beating about anybody known to man out. Taylor Swift is as big as it gets.
So you switch over to Taylor Swift concerts?
No. I actually saw Taylor Swift when she first broke in 2007 in Reading.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, yep. She was nobody at that time. And then Fearless came out, and suddenly, boom.
There you go.
Yeah, she took off. But she's a Wyomissing girl. She's from Wyomissing.
Yeah, I know she is, yeah. But it's, so, without the fans, you can't succeed.
No.
And you look at pictures of old games of teams that have moved, and what do you see in the background?
Yeah.
Empty
seats, no fans. Nope.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
which you saw frequently in baseball and basketball in the late 70s, early 80s.
That's right.
Yeah. And that's a big reason why these teams have moved. And
the USFL, the XFL right now are playing games. Nobody's at the games. They're made for TV events.
And this is probably the last go round for the XFL if it doesn't succeed.
Yeah.
Because the money they've spent for this now, and you bring the star power in. Yes, Vince McMahon's not the guy anymore, but you bring The Rock in. You bring somebody like that who is a Hollywood star as much as he is a pro wrestling star. You have that star power now. And if it doesn't succeed now, I don't think at this point you are going to kick the tires ever again if it fails a third time. Now, granted, the second time, COVID was a big reason. First time around just was, quite honestly, arrogance on the part of Vince McMahon, I think, is this big reason it failed the first time around. NBC put a lot of investment into it.
Okay. Why did USFL 1 have a chance? USFL 1, back in the 80s, had a chance. Okay? In the end, it didn't work. But what did they do right away? They get Herschel Walker.
I guess they brought star power, Reggie White, Steve Young.
Reggie White, Mike Rozier, Steve Young,
Jim Kelly.
Doug Flutie, Jim Kelly. Right? They brought in people that people wanted to see. They were smart enough to go after stars and get them to go over there instead of trying to cultivate their own stars. That's hard to do.
Sure.
To cultivate your own stars. I mean, the AFL was able to do it. I mean, the AFL was able to hang in there. But in the end, what forced the merger? Okay? Al Davis, 1966, please, sports mythology. When the Jets beat the Colts, that forced the merger.
No.
They already merged.
They were, no.
They merged in 1966. Okay? And just with a schedule to start playing each other in 1970. All right. Al Davis was the commissioner. He took over for Joe Foss and came up with a plan to start signing NFL quarterbacks. They signed John Brody. They signed, typical 49er guy. He couldn't wait to get out.
That's right.
They signed John Brody. They signed Roman Gabriel. There's like 4 or 5 NFL quarterbacks they signed. And the NFL sat back and went, what? What the heck is this? We can't. And it brought the NFL to the table. Said, let's talk about this. Because this is going to wreck the entire structure. Because now AFL started to get a little bit better. They were a fun league to watch. They're throwing the ball all over the place. The NFL's 3 yards on a cloud of dust. And now they're signing quarterbacks. We can't have this. Right? So they were able to get through the first 6 seasons, kind of cultivating their own stars, but they were able to, for example, they signed Joe Namath. They signed Billy Cannon, the Heisman Trophy winner. But there was a competition for talent. There was a competition for talent along the way between the two. You look at the 2 leagues now, they're not competing for talent. That's why everybody's like, yeah, okay, great. People aren't really watching. Nobody's in the stands. Yep. It's like, okay. I had somebody telling me the other day, I could watch football 12 months out of the year.
Really?
So, no, this was at a party. Yeah. Annabelle Goloszewski at a graduation party. And so her grandfather says that, and his son, Mark, says, oh, Dad, come on, Dad. It's not true. He says, you're going to watch the USFL and the XFL? And he goes, well, no. I don't want to watch real football. I could watch real football all year. Well, I agree with you. You probably could.
Yeah, you probably could.
You could watch the NFL.
Sure.
You could watch college
put those
football.
Classic games on.
But college football and whatever. Now, physically, nobody can do that.
No.
No, it's okay.
My goodness.
They're at the limit now.
Well, that was a big reason why. You go back to 2020 when they had the brilliant idea, and look, and Kevin Warren's going to, I hope, goes back and says he made the wrong decision right now, but the brilliant idea of postponing that to spring, then you're going to have these guys play a physical season in the spring and come right back in August. Your body takes time to heal. Like, players want to play, don't get me wrong, but your body takes time to heal.
Something that was a real burden on coaches. And I'm talking about soccer, volleyball, field hockey. Remember, they all played in the spring of 21.
Yeah.
And they all had to
come right back.
And come right back and play in the fall of 21.
Yeah.
And Charmaret Curtis and Erica Dombach and Jeff Cook and Russ Rose all would have told you how difficult it was to do that. Imagine it was football. I talked to Dave Cicchini, Bucknell's football coach, because they played a schedule in the spring.
Yeah. Ivy League altogether did, and Patriot League.
The Patriot League. And came back.
Yeah.
And played in the fall. He says, Steve, it was rigorous. Mm-hmm. He said, guys were still sore from playing in the spring.
That's to my point. I think absolutely. And it's also part of it is, and again, your goal is to get the games in. These players want to play. That's absolutely the truth. But you're in a world now where you are putting a strong emphasis on protecting players.
Yep. And
protecting everything around them. You're not doing that when that happens.
Right.
Not whatsoever when it comes to that. And that's thank goodness it played out the way it did. And that did not happen here. And you're absolutely right. I felt terrible for the Patriot League, the Ivy League, those schools. Yeah, it is just absolutely the toll it takes on your body, and you're coming right back.
Yeah, it's awful.
It's terrible. And that's why, you look at we joke sometimes on the show about pro wrestling. They don't have an off season. It's not it's entertainment, yes, but those bodies the falls they take, my goodness. You couldn't do that 12 months out of the year for the most part. No way.
By the way, on the College Football Hall of Fame ballot, Kajana Carter, DJ Dozier, Paul Posluszny. They're on the ballot. Let's see if they make it.
Yeah, let's hope so. Yeah, I remember what it means to be a Nittany Lion book coming out a while back. I think Paul Posluszny defines that.
Yeah.
In a big way. Absolutely. And Kajana Carter, obviously somebody. There was Kajana Carter before there was Saquon Barkley, and there was DJ Dozier before there was Kajana Carter.
Yeah. So, yeah, last time I saw DJ was at Live for Life last year.
I haven't seen DJ in a long time. Yeah. Last time I saw DJ was actually the Notre Dame game. So you go all the way back 2007.
No, I saw it.
Yeah, I did not see him at Live for Life. Yeah, I was at Live for Life. I didn't get a chance to see him.
He had a son with him last year. Well, no, it's like all of a sudden I heard Steve, and he comes over. It's like I probably talked to him for an hour. Look, there aren't many guys on the face of the earth that played with the Minnesota Vikings and the New York Mets. DJ did. So that is, and then a Kajana Carter. Every time he touched the ball, it was electric. You felt like
absolutely.
Posluszny defined a Penn State linebacker in the new era.
Mm-hmm. Sure did.
And all you have to do is just sit back and just ask Jack Ham what he thought about Paul Posluszny, who knows exponentially more about the position than I ever dream I will.
Mm-hmm.
I do a lot of listening when he talks.
Yeah.
A lot of listening when he talks. But, yeah, those guys are all on the Hall of Fame ballot. So we'll see how many get through.
We'll see, yeah. So I'll tell you what.
One thing about the College Football Hall of Fame, they put a lot in.
They do. Yep, they do. And to their credit, they do a great job of College Football Hall of Fame is exactly that, college football. They don't judge based on...
No.
And I'll tell you this, the Pro Hall of Fames do to an extent, in my opinion. So I think that's something the College Football Hall of Fame does a great job of doing.
Yeah, I mean, it's... and they judge it solely on your college football career.
Absolutely.
If you didn't have a great pro career for whatever reason, doesn't enter into it.
Right.
It's what you did on
the gridiron.
The gridiron, on the college level.
Sure.
And that's great for them. And just spent some time 2 weeks ago, 10 days ago, almost 2 weeks ago, with Don Fisher, who won the Chris Schenkel Award for 50 years of Indiana football and basketball. You know, it's interesting because we were talking about Lucas Oil Stadium. And, Don was talking about, they had the broadcast location so high up. And I said, yeah, I know. But, like, you look around the table, like, Gary Dolphin had done Big Ten title games. Paul Keels has done Big Ten title games. Rob Blackman was part of that group, right? Will Tiemann's worked it. I've worked it. Don never has. Now, Don has done a game in there as a regular season game, but not a Big Ten title game. I mean, the last time they went to the Rose Bowl, I think Don's done it 50 years. Don wasn't their announcer. It was 1967. Johnny Pont, I believe, was their coach. And they were able to get there, but, yeah. It's a hard road. It's a hard road.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, tonight, Stanley Cup. Panthers, Vegas, TNT tonight. Ben Bowman will be in the booth, sitting next to Kenny Albert. Tommy Olczyk's dad, Ed. Mm-hmm. There'll be a lot of Penn State connections up there.
There will be.
Right. And then Keith Jones, your beloved Flyers.
That's right.
Yeah.
Emily Kaplan always did a great job with hockey. Add her to it. Yep, next year she'll be there. Another Penn State connection.
Somebody told me that she was criticized on social media because of her questions to coaches. When they have to do those questions, her questions are short, direct, and to the point. Everyone wants to hear the answer. They don't really care about it.
They don't really care. And you're only given two usually. It's not as if...
So, why don't you comment on something you know what the deal is? Emily does a great job in a tough spot.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you don't have to sit there and essentially show that you know what you're talking about. Your job's to ask the questions. Just by asking the question, you know what you're talking about.
Great.
Come on. Well, usually, excuse me. Why don't you send me a reel? Let's see your interviews. Let's see how they are. Oh, you don't have any? Oh, okay, good. That's great. Good. How's everything in the garage? Good? All right, just checking. That's where your computer is, right? In the garage? Basement? No? I know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I'm sure you know. Okay. Yeah. Oh, we didn't get to 49 good San Francisco seconds.
I'll tell the 49 biggest seconds I would give is great to see Robbie Gould back in town. So he was here for the CVC. He was there for the CVC.
Oh, I didn't see Rob.
He was at the golf tournament.
Did not see him.
Yep. So great to see him. Probably the greatest kicker in franchise history. I think you could probably say Mike Kofer, Ray Warshing might have an argument, but I think Robbie Gould is up there without a doubt. He's clutching the playoffs as it gets.
I'm trying to remember who the straight-on kicker was in the 60s.
60s, I remember some bad ones.
Oh.
You remember the bad ones more than you remember the good ones. But
no, Robbie's never missed a postseason kick.
Never missed a postseason kick, as clutch as it gets.
Unbelievable.
He had the old Larry Bird walk-off a lot of times when he kicked the field goal. After Bird hit the three, same exact walk-off. Yeah. Whether he did it deliberately or not, I tend to think he probably did, but yeah, that's yep.
Yeah.
Go back and watch a couple of his big kicks. He did exactly that.
All right. Are you back tomorrow?
I am back tomorrow.
Why? He and I have this running joke, just so you know, because he knows I think the world of him.
Likewise.
Oh. How many things? We've done 1,000 things together. Right. You're back tomorrow? Really? Hey, Spikes open up a 3-game series tonight with Trenton, 6:35 tonight, tomorrow, Wednesday.
A lot of chances to see them at home here this week.
They're 4-0.
Yeah, first time franchise history.
And then off day Thursday, that's the opening ceremony for the Pennsylvania Summer Special Olympics. And then they have home this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday with Frederick. All right, so a lot of chances this week to see baseball. Weather's going to be great.